Well, so let's start from the very beginning. What is exactly a meta-analysis?
That's a great question, Ricardo. I actually have some slides to share about this. A meta-analysis is the quantitative synthesis of studies that are similar to each other. So if you get, for example, an investigator anywhere in the world that they want to study a new drug, or they want to compare a specific surgery to medications, or whatever study anyone wants to conduct, they're going to pick initially a sample for that study. That sample may be drawn out of a hospital, out of a healthcare system, or out of multiple different hospitals. It may be a multi-centric study. But when you have different authors, different study groups doing this all over the world at different times, and you have many different studies that are similar to each other, that gives us the opportunity of doing an aggregate analysis of all the studies that are similar to each other. And that's exactly what a meta-analysis is. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So it's essentially a way to compile studies.
That's right. But the studies do have to be similar to each other. That's a key aspect of systematic reviews and meta-analysis, because you are doing a quantitative synthesis. You're pulling them together, as we call it. But then you can't do that if the studies are too different from each other.
After all, we want to answer a single question. That's our goal here.
Yes, a meta-analysis does have a question. Here, let me show you an example. So this here is a meta-analysis that I published a few years ago in the International Journal of Cardiology. And we compared in patients who have cardiac surgery for coronary arteries, who have coronary artery bypass surgery, we compared using two antiplatelets like aspirin and clopidogrel versus only one antiplatelet like aspirin. And this is the result, or one of the results, of that meta-analysis. And I think this is a great way to illustrate the theoretical concept of what is a meta-analysis that I just explained. So with this single question, to your point, yes, a meta-analysis addresses one specific question. In that questions, we had all these different studies published by different authors in different countries at different times. So for example, in 2004, Fox and his group published a study, and then in 2013, Lopez did the same, and so forth. But because the studies are similar to each other, all these studies, how many studies do we have here? We have 5, 10, 12, or 13 studies. Because they're similar to each other, we're able to pool them. We're able to do the pooled analysis of all those studies. And that is exactly what a meta-analysis is. So to wrap up, I want to repeat this very technical definition, which makes a lot of sense. A meta-analysis is the quantitative synthesis of studies that are similar to each other. So to do a meta-analysis, we need to find an idea, a research project, a specific question, and then find the studies that are similar enough to combine them in a meta-analysis. With that in mind, I want to invite folks to participate in the Meta-Analysis Academy, where we teach a 10-step method on how you can develop these publications on your own, starting with developing your own idea for research and organizing that idea, testing whether it's a good idea or not.